Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Get to Know. Get to Know is a series where we delve into the lives of people around us. We have chats with them, we derive testimonies from them, and the most important thing is that we seek to impact our generation from our testimonies. So this evening, we're so happy and so delighted to have our sister Nina.
Hello.
Yes, Nina is going to be sharing her testimony with us. I'm really excited to be speaking with you. She is just a ray of sunshine and she just makes me so happy having a chat with her. So I'm going to start with a few questions for you. The first one, which is a question that I ask everybody, tell us a little bit about your background. You can go as far back as you like.
Okay.
But just tell us a little bit about your background, Nina.
My background, okay. I come from a family of 8. No, sorry, that's a lie. God forgive me. I come from a family of 9 girls. So my dad is from Congo, my mom as well. So, but they are from the same, if you can say, region. So they are from the northwest, which is called Bandundu. And so I'm from there. Obviously, we speak Kikongo because in my country we have 5 main languages. So the first one is French, and then the second one I don't go in order of things. I just say okay. The first one is French, and then we have Kikongo, we have Swahili, we have Chiduba, and we have Kikongo and Lingala. Yeah, Lingala.
You speak all 5 languages.
Yes, I do.
Multilingual.
Oh. So that's that, and. Yeah, my mom and dad got married in 1972, the 3rd of March. That's a date I always remember. My dad passed away like 6 years ago, the 15th of June, so I'll get into that. So I grew up as, among girls, obviously. It was quite, it was very noisy. Yeah, very noisy. And one thing I've learned from my family was that we never used to fight. My dad hated fights. So even though I remember being bullied at school, there was just one girl who just wanted to, I don't know why, what was her problem with me. So obviously I couldn't fight. She would just come on my face and then I was like, oh, I wish I could just do something. So I used to insult her in my mother tongue, so she didn't know what to say. She didn't know what I was saying. So for me, that was a way of responding. And it went on and on and on. I think one day she was just there into my face. I think I just lashed out, and then I just punched her or something. I was just, when the girls fighting. So I did fight, and I don't know how my sister knew about it. And she said, I'm gonna tell that. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm dead. So I went back home, obviously. I went straight to bed. So obviously, because at home I'm one of the loudest, I tell you. So when Nina is there, we know that she's in the house. Yeah. So I arrived there, and then my dad was like, I haven't seen Nina. And then they were like, oh, she's sleeping. Oh, what has she done? Because he knows that when I'm going to sleep early, I'm in trouble. So I remember him telling me that you can't fight. And he was like, if I put you, even among our sisters, it was like, okay, you can't fight your sister. Your sister is the one that always going to have your back. And it was like, if you're trying to fight, we get physical. It's just, okay, I'm here, is the referee. And then he put like a circle, a square on the ground. And they say, now fight. And I will see who's going to win. And you just stay there, and then you can't do anything. It's like, okay, so you can't fight, but you were fighting earlier, so why can't you finish your fight? And I'm like, I just can't say, yeah, that's the spirit. You can't fight your sister. It's not just your sister, everybody else around you can't fight them. Yeah. So I'll go back like that. And even, I remember one day as well, I was just, when in this country it's okay to swear because it's like part of the common language. But in French, like we say, sorry guys, so I'm just gonna say the word is merde, which is the S word in English, I won't say it. And then my dad just looked at me And I was like, yes, what did I do? And I say, you can't say that. You say zut or oops or something like that. You can't say that. From that day, I've never ever swore up to today. So it's something that even when people say, I'm like, please do not swear. I just don't like it. That makes me uncomfortable because I always remember the rebuke of my dad. So it was like, in a good environment. My dad was the only one who was working. My mom was at home. She was just a quiet person, but she was a teaser. Oh, my mom, she can laugh at you, and she was a teaser. But my dad was like, it was him. And I remember we used to, I think in French we have, for those who speak French, we have the vous, means that it's like a respect. It's like, it's a high authority, if I can say. And we have the tu, means okay, it's me and you, we can can just, And I remember when we used to call my dad, okay, you have done, I say, higher, vous or something. And then he said, don't call me vous, I'm your dad. So you shouldn't be like putting me, this is my place and I'm there. No, I'm your dad. You can just say anything to me. So I want you to call me too. So tu veux something, you want something, just speak to me. I'm not a scary person. So he always just, in that moment of friends and like peace and laughter and all that, he was all that.
Did you grow up in a Christian family? Would you say that?
We were, I can say yes, I can say yes, because back then it was Catholic and it was a Protestant, which is what we call Anglican. So it was just two kind of religion. So we were Catholic. So for me, that was the best. I was like, okay, I was in the choir when I was 9 years old, in the youth choir. So I grew up in the church, so doing activities. I had my Holy Communion there. I had my baptism there, you know, the way they do baptism. So I grew up just in an environment of church, going to church, and then I grew up just going to the choir, serving God as I was doing.
So you started quite early serving God.
Yeah.
And fast forward, you're here in the UK. So how did you end up here?
Oh my goodness, it's a long journey. So continue my work and then finishing my study, finishing uni. And I was living, I think my dad working, I can say is in a, how can I say it? How can I say it into English? He worked in a company who produced diamond. So he was based in one place called Mbujimai. So we speak Chiluba there. So that's where I was born in Mbujimai. And so we had I can say representation in every different part of the country. So we had one in the capital, which is Kinshasa, and another one when I grew up as well is in Lubumbashi. So my dad he got a promotion, and then we went to Lubumbashi. So we book back and forth between Mbujimai and Lubumbashi. So when we went first time in Lubumbashi, so we all went there. So I moved school. So it was like my life has been just moving back and forth. So and then from that, what was the question again? Okay. So I finished my nearly secondary school, nearly doing my A level or my GCSEs. We moved back to Mbujimai, so that's where I got my GCSE, and I started uni there. When I started the first and the second year, the second year I retook it because I was sick during exams, so I didn't pass it. I had to retake the same year. So during the second year I was retaking, I fell sick again. So I went to hospital, pneumonia. It was just drama. So at that time, family friends said, just go back to your parents, because here, obviously, my family was in Lubumbashi and I was back in Mbujimai because I was in uni. So for us back and forth, it was like, no, I can't just continue changing school and changing uni. It can't be, it's not good. I need stability. So when I fell sick, they were like, no, you need to go back, because actually that sickness got me to the point where I was at ICU, so they were like,
Was that serious?
Yeah, it was that serious. And then they said, you just need to go back to your parents. So I said, okay, I'll go. So I went back, and then I finished my uni there. After that, we went now. So my dad, I think he was in the process of getting retired. So he bought a house in the capital called Kinshasa. So we went in vacation, on holiday in Kinshasa. So we went there in a new house, and there. It was still in construction, so we stayed there. It was interesting, living in the house and going outside for the toilet. It was not pleasant. So, we all went through that. So it was quite good. And then my sister, the one I come after, she's a journalist. So she used to work in a company of media company. It was TV, newspaper, and radio. So he was there. And that's actually where Gilbert was working. He was an admin there. So I remember when, I think at the nearly 2 years before she finished her study, she needed to work, to have a professional thing. And then so when she can finish as a journalist, you have to say, okay, I've done this, this, and this as a trainee. And then she can continue the last years of uni. So I remember her say, oh, Mom, Dad, I have my boss here. He's an MP. So when it comes to, because they used to have session in Lubumbashi, and at that time we were in Lubumbashi, he said, okay, my boss is coming, please, can you invite him in the house? My dad loved people. On Sunday after church, he was like, okay, can you come to my house? And then my mom looked at him like, what you doing? And I'm like, no, he can come to eat. And like, there's not enough food for everybody. And then my dad could invite the whole church just to come at dinner. And my mom was like, oh my goodness. And then he said, when there's food for one, there's food for two. If there's food for two, there's food for 10. And then my mom would just, and that's the way we grew up anyway. So always sharing and cooking. That's why when I cook, I always cook for Martin.
I think people. You took out after your dad, isn't it? Yeah.
It was, you always synced in, yeah. So, and then when her boss came, and we invited him at home, and then he said, okay, this is my boss, blah, blah, blah. And then that was it. And then we just had a good relationship. Every time we'll come for the session of MP, we'll invite him. And when we went to Kinshasa for holiday, he decided, okay, you've done so much for me, so can you just come in my house too? And then that's when we finished, when we went now as a family on holiday in Kinshasa, and then he said, okay, come and have dinner. So when we went as a family to have dinner there, and I met Gilbert. It was like, okay, he was still at uni. And yeah, he has his life. I have my life. I have my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Good life, you know, at the time. And then, yeah, he was living in, because my sister's boss is Gilbert's father-in-law. He married his older sister.
Okay.
So he was living there because he was still in uni. And that's how I met him. And then we become like, the bond became just so good. He was just my big brother, because at the time I didn't finish uni, so he was doing economy and I was doing economy. So he learned in Mitsa because you'll need that for the future. You'll need that. And then, it was a kind of big brother. And then, just always advised me to take my study seriously, to be a serious person. Because Gilbert is very serious. Sorry, honey, I love you. He's very serious. When it comes to work, study, he doesn't play with that. It's something that's very important. And faith as well is the thing that he cannot joke with. So, and then I went back, finished my study, and then my dad retired, and then he decided, I don't want to retire now. I want to work again 2 more years. So we stayed there with my mom, and then I think I finished my study, and then Gilbert suggested that you can come and do some training in the company. And I said, okay, but it's a multimedia. No, there's like admin and accounting department. You can come there. Oh, okay, that's fine. So I went there for a month. I did a month. I remember I did a month there, and it was the boss. I was calling. He has a title called DAF, so Administration Director of Finances or something. But in French we say DAF. So we also call it DAF. And they said, don't call me DAF, call Mr. Gilbert. I said, okay, hello, Mr. Gilbert.
So at this point, you guys are falling in love, and you're
not at all. That was like 2 years after I met him. So, no, it was like my brother. So I had my life.
At what point did you decide, oh, this is the one?
To be honest, I've back a little bit. When I finished my study, and I had an opportunity of work. That it was when I was during one of the holiday in Kinshasa. And then they said there was a new company that was opening, and then airway company. Yeah. So I went back to Lubumbashi waiting. I was living in my uncle's house, and then I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. It was just a waiting game, and I waited for nearly 6 months, and nothing was happening. So I decided to go back. And I remember one time, it was just in a second, like in a vision, I saw Gilbert. I was me and him together, and I was like, I didn't understand. I was like, oh, I didn't take it as seriously.
Or a vision or something.
It was like a quick 2 second. I can say I just saw Gilbert and myself. It was like me and him together. That was a quick flash, and then I'm like, oh no, it can't be, because I had someone at that time. And then the day after, Gilbert called me to check up on me and say, are you okay? And I say, yeah, I'm okay. I'm still waiting for the company to call me so I can work. And they say, yeah, we're still chasing, blah, 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 blah. But they already started. I don't know why they don't call you. I said, I don't know. I'm still waiting. I always go there. They don't say anything. So he said, okay, just we'll continue to chase up for you. And then at the end, my dad was like, you know what, just come back home, because there's only 6 months. It's been 6 months is quite a long time. So I went back to Kinshasa. And then that's when I did my training and all that. And then when I was working with him, I remember starting in July, because at that time we were preparing the wedding of the sister I come before the journalist. And Gilbert's father-in-law and sister-in-law are the godmother, and the one that stays as a witness to the wedding. And I remember he came because he was at the time he was engaged to someone. And I remember during the party, I went to him and said, but where is she? Oh, no, she's in South Africa. She's on holiday. Oh, okay, I just left it. And I finished, and that was it. And the next day, he said, no, you can have a day off, and don't come on Monday, come on Tuesday. So I came back on Tuesday, and we were just working. And then his birthday is on the 31st of August, I remember. And then the whole department was like, oh, we have to do something for Mr. Gilbert, because he's such a good boss, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, yeah, let's do that. He likes flowers. So his secretary was like, okay, I'm going to buy some flowers and a Bible. She bought him a brand new Bible. And I did the speech. I remember saying, can you do the speech? I said, fine, I'll do the speech. And then we bought food. And then on his birthday, we're like, okay, let's go on. He came, I don't know where he was coming from. So when he came, we were singing for him, happy birthday to you, da, da, da. And he was so touched. And I did the speech. I was so happy. And they gave him flowers. So, I love flowers. And they gave him the gift. He was really happy. And they said, okay, after work, please don't feel shy. When you finish, 6 o'clock, go to my house. The food is ready. You can go and eat. I'll be joining you later. Fine. After work, we were all happy. We went to his house. We had food. I ate so much. And then he came, and then I keep asking, where is she? And they said, no, she's not here. She's on holiday. And I said, okay, fine. And then after that, I remember one of our colleagues dropped me back home, and I went home. That was it. The next day, we went back to work, and then he said, okay, I need to talk to you, actually. I said, okay, because I was in a relationship before, and then I asked his father-in-law to be our witness, and everybody know that that person. And then he said, I don't hear anymore about your relationship. And I'm like, oh, forget about it, it's done. I said, everybody knew about it. Everybody knew that you're going to marry the person. And I said, oh, it's fine, it's gone. And they said, no, you need to tell me the story, because he used to check on a person, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I need to check. Okay, give me your fact. Give me the reason why you broke up. And then he explained the reason. I said, no, I need to call the person as well. So he called the person, whatever reason he gave him. And then he said, okay. And then after that, he said, okay, come back in 2 days' time, and I will let you know. So I went back, I keep thinking, okay, now tell me, tell me. I said, no, you come back later. So one Thursday, I remember, it was on the third day, I even remember what I was wearing. I was wearing a blue jean, and a blue shirt. I still remember that. And I went in his office. It was in the morning. He always come in the morning, like 7. I was there. And then I knocked in the door, okay, should we talk? He said, no, just give me time to pray. So I went back. He prayed, and after that, he called me. We had like a buzzer or something. Okay, I said, okay, I'm coming. So when they say, okay, sit down, I said, okay, now I want to hear. And it was like, oh, no, exactly whatever the reason that you gave me is the same reason, obviously. So he didn't work out families and all that. I said, okay, I told you, I don't lie. And then he said, okay. And there was another thing. I said, okay. Because for me, I was like, because now he took his serious face. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. Yeah. And then he said, yeah, are you happy here? We're doing your training. I said, oh yeah, actually it's good. And I have you as a boss. You're a good trainer and you're a good boss. You make everybody, you know, feel safe and comfortable. Safe, yeah. So I know that I'm learning so many things. And he said, okay, I've been observing you. I said, okay, are you going to report me to my dad or what? And he said, no, I've been observing you. And I've been praying about it. And I said, okay. So at the point I became like, a bit intrigued. And I'm like, what's happening now? What is he going to say? And he said, I've been observing you. And then because obviously we know your families, we have good values, good virtues, good. He started praising our family. I said, thank you. It's so done to me, and he was like laughing.
So you know where this is going, isn't it?
No, I didn't know, because we had actually good relationship. We could talk about anything and everything. So I could not, even in my thinking, because before that, I remember our secretary was like, "You need to marry my boss. You need to marry." She was like pressuring me. I said, "No, I'm with someone now. I can't marry, and he has someone." No, he doesn't need that person. He needs you. You're such a bubbly person. He's so quiet. I say, exactly. He's quiet. He won't talk to me. I say, but you talking? I say, yeah, no, but you know, I don't see him with me. He's my brother. He said, is he your mother's brother, son? I said, no, but he's my brother, you know. And she was like, no. She was like, I will pray for you. You will marry my boss. She was actually praying.
That's why they say it's good to marry your friend. You know,
do you think so?
Yes, I think so. I think it's good to marry your friend first.
Now I think I believe so, because when you know each other, I think it's just easy.
Are very, very different if you marry somebody who's already your friend versus if you marry somebody who you fell in love with.
It's
Sometimes you find that, you know, people actually sometimes grow out of those feelings. It's better that, you know, you're friends and you build your relationship off of a friendship.
Actually makes sense, thinking about that.
So how long did it take before he proposed and he said yes?
I'm telling you the story. So when he was saying that he's observing me, blah blah blah, your family are good values, good people, and all. And then he said, I prayed about it, and I had 3 people in my mind, because I'm thinking that you're one of the person I want to marry. And I'm like, you know, at the point I was like, is he actually proposing to me now? You know, when you think, did I hear or she didn't hear? Yeah. And then I'm like, okay. And he was talking and say, okay. And I've been praying about it. I think I have a confirmation. And this is me, and he started giving me his plan. He said, okay, I've got this date for... So he said, okay, because he was in August that time, I remember. And he said, okay, December, I'm going to pay my diary. In June, we're going to have the registration, the register or office wedding. And I'm like, slow down. I didn't even say yes. I don't even know what you're telling me now.
It's already planned.
And I'm like, actually, I just stood like, and I'm like...
Yeah, the whole thing planned out.
Yeah, he had everything planned. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he actually proposed to me. And he said, this is my hand. And you're willing to take it or not? And I'm like, And he said, no, don't worry. He told me, take as much time as you want and come back to me. You can take a year or 2 years. I said, okay, that's fine. I can take a year, 2 years. I still have time. For me, I still had time. And when I said that, I actually froze on the chair. He said, okay, now you can go back to work. And I'm like,
it's a bit awkward now going to work.
Awkward. And I'm like, what is going on? And he was like, when I look at my watch, it was 8. And I'm like, 8 a.m. I just got proposed. So I woke up, and then obviously I was like, okay. I woke up, I took get myself together, and then I woke up, and then I went, and I closed the door. I was like, when I closed the door, I went back on my seat, and then the secretary was there, and she was like, Nina, you okay? And I said, yeah. And she said, come and sit down, come and sit down. So I went and sat down, and then he said, what's wrong? What's happening? And I said, Monsieur Gilbert just proposed to me. And she was like, hallelujah, praise the Lord. She was happy. Let's pray. I'm like, I'm not in the mood of pray. I'm shocked. And I said, no, please, just pray. Let's pray. So she prayed for me. She was so happy. She was actually praising God. Thank God that he answered my prayers. And she was so happy. And I tell you, after she prayed, I tell you, Shama, it was like, this just switch of feeling. I started falling in love with him, like properly. And I'm like, what is going on? I was like, because I heard of someone else that are actually cheating. I felt so guilty, you know, and I just the love grew. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm actually loving this man. And to the point that I just wanted to see him. That the only thing I wanted is just, I want to see him now. I just want to see him. So I will find any excuse, because when visitors come to see him, they will ask an audience, will fill out the paper, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it because I wanted to see him. So I just went, okay, this person is coming. I say, okay, say yes or say no, whatever. So yeah, and then from that I fell in love, like so in love with him. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it was a mixture of feelings. And I went back home that night. I told Mama, Mom, can you imagine Gilbert proposed to me? And she was like, oh, really? But you're a crazy person.
That's what Bob would say.
And she said, oh my goodness, this poor man is so quiet.
He's got his work cut out for him.
And I'm like, thank you, Mom. He said, oh, that's good, but he's a good person. I said, yeah, but then she said, so what about the person you were with? I said, I don't know, Mom.
What are you going to do about that person then?
I don't know. I didn't know what to do, to be honest. So at that point, I was like entertaining two relationships, which I felt it was so long. Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah. And I went to work. And then actually that weekend, because it was on a Thursday, on that weekend, he was supposed to go to America for 2 months, and I didn't know. So he called me that night and said, okay, can we go to the cinema on Saturday? And I said, oh, well, no problem, we can go. Now we were going to watch a concert. I can't remember the musician, actually. And I said, okay, no problem. So all of those planned, but at the last minute, my sister asked me to babysit because she was going to a wedding on that same Saturday. So I had to cancel. I said, I'm so sorry, I have to cancel. So I have to babysit. I said, no problem, I'll come to you, to your sister's house, then we can have time together. I said, oh, fine. And I'll bring the nyama choma, and I say, yeah, now you're talking.
What's nyama choma?
It was goat, you know, with goat. It was so nice. He bought goat, and then at the time I was drinking, and he bought white wine, because he loved white wine. So he bought wine. And then we just have a chat, and then he said, no, I need to go urgently to the airport, I'm coming back. And he went to the airport because his mother-in-law was already going in advance. And then he came back. I said, why are you going to the airport anyway? So then he said, I was supposed to go today. I said, where? To America. And I said, are you serious? I said, yeah, I was supposed to go today. So what now are you going to do? And I'm postponed, I'm going to go on Monday. Oh, okay, that's fine then. And I was like, really? What kind of person does that? You propose and then you go. Who does that? So he finally went. He went on a Monday. I remember at that time I finished my contract. No, I didn't finish. I said that I was having a training in DHL. DHL, yeah. I was doing a training there for a month. So yeah, I was starting on Monday. I told him, look, I've been chosen to do the training in DHL. I said, okay, no, fine. Just tell you the HR, and then it will actually give you time off, and then you can do your training, no problem. So I did that for a month. So all the time I was doing the training, it was in America. So that time it was really tough for me, because obviously I was in love with him, but I couldn't tell him that. Right. And obviously...
And you hadn't gotten married at that point. You still hadn't thought about moving here to the UK. None of that.
None of that.
That was really, really early on in the relationship.
It was very, very early. Yeah. So obviously I had to finish my relationship with that person. And then he came back in October. He actually proposed to me properly, and then I said yes. In December, I was supposed to do December. So by January they went or we say pre-diary things to say, okay, in Swahili we say funga mulango, I think. Yeah. So we went there, so they closed the door, so no one can enter. So then, he proposed to me, and the family said yes, and then asked me, did you say yes? Yes, and she said yes. So, and then we got married that year in August, and then, the time August to September, I started applying. So you used to say anyway, I need to do my MBA. You used to say, even when I was talking to me, I need to finish to go post-uni, I need to do my MBA. And say, I will think America, or it was America, South Africa, or UK. And for me, I was like, okay, he's going to go, we're going to stay. And at that time, I think, because when I got pregnant before marriage, and then I had Beauty, and we got married in August, and then the following year I gave birth to Beauty in February, and then that time he was actually doing his planning to go to America or to do his MBA. So during that he did the application, and then America came and UK came, and they both accepted him. But then the only thing was that in America they didn't have accommodations for married family, but in the UK they had. So by the time he said no to the American, and then he came back to the UK, they said, oh, there's no more spaces. So, and I'm like, oh, that's fine, because I didn't want to go, so you can go alone. And then he said, no, we had Beauty, she's a little girl, I need to see her growing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, like the when he does the guilty speech. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be so bad. Can you imagine? If she start walking, I won't be there to see her. If she start talking, and I'm like, you're right. But I said, you're going to call her, you're going to video call her. It's not the same. It's not the same raising the little one by yourself. And I said, I've got my family here. I have your family here. It's going to be fine. He said, no, you have to come with me. So I was like, oh my goodness. I never, ever traveling. I never, even when we first got married in August, the following year in March, he said, okay, you can go to South Africa. He actually bought me everything. I said, no, I'm not going. I don't want to go. He said, you need to go. I said, no, I'm not going. I'm staying here. So I don't like traveling. You had not traveled before, so this is only... No, I didn't like it. With a baby, and you're starting a whole new life. In the UK. We came on the 18th of September, 2006. How was that like? It was... When I first landed in UK, I was like, is that UK? I was not impressed. Yes, that was my exact thought. Really? The first time I came here, I was like, yes, interesting. Because I think the thing is, what you see on the media is very, very different from what you see. But then again, it reminded me so much of Nairobi, because the infrastructure in Africa is very, very colonial sometimes, especially the British-led country. It was very colonial, and it looked very, very similar. So I was like, what is going on? It just seems like I'm in Nairobi again. But yeah, I get what you mean. Like, you're not... But because the thing is, because we are French colony, that's the different, because we have massive roads, we have everything is wide, but here the roads are narrow, so small, and we're like, all the houses together, and I'm like, where am I? I say, what are you with me? And the thing is, because from the airport we got separated, and he went to Canterbury because that's where he went, and we went in Stockholm, so it was like far away from seeing each other. And obviously I arranged everything, and we had somewhere to live, but it was just... It was tough, wasn't it? It was tough, but at least I knew someone, but I had to make new friends, new people. They were there day and night calling me, and Gilbert was calling me as well. But it was not the same. You feel like you're lonely, and then you feel like it's a strange place to be, and then people are nice, genuinely nice, but you feel like you don't want to open up because you think you're taking advantage of them. That's how I felt. So I didn't want to, even if I was in need of something, because I was not good with English, I will understand absolutely everything, but to speak that was the problem. And the baby, you've got the baby. Did the other children come very quickly after that? No. You waited a little bit. I waited a little. I was not ready to be a mother in the UK, because we got the visa for 2 years. For me, okay, after 2 years, we're going back to... For me, my man was said, I'm going back to Congo. After 2 years, he finished his study, graduation, back to Congo. So I was ready to go. And we had actually the 2 years, 2 years ticket, I think, after that. After that, Gilbert, when he had his graduation, he said, can we just explore a bit, even just for 1 year? And I said, okay, let's just explore. And then 1 year before No, when we first arrived, I did a month in Stoke-on-Trent, and we found a house in Canterbury. So we moved back there. So that's how we managed to live in Canterbury for a few months, 6 months. And then we added 2 more months because it was like in a contract. And then we moved to another house still in Canterbury. We did 2 months. We went to Faversham. And then from Faversham, we moved to Dover, next to Tesco. It's called Melbourne Avenue. And from there, what happened? From there, we moved back to Stoke-on-Trent, but we had a transition. We went to Staplehurst and then back to Stoke-on-Trent because Gilbert had to find another job. So when he found another job and we found another house in where you find us in Folkestone Road, and then we moved back there in 2009 up to last year.
Recently. I want to hear about your journey of motherhood. You have 3 wonderful girls. They're such a joy to be around, and they are so talented. I just want to just dig a little bit deeper in your journey of motherhood.
Motherhood, definitely when you give birth in Africa, it's different from here. Definitely, because you have all your sisters, all your family, in-laws, everybody is happy to help and to chip in. And in Africa, you have aid and maids and all that. But coming here, I was all alone. I was totally alone. And when I had Beauty, and then we had Alison. So at the journey when I had the second child, obviously, Gilbert was not working. I was still trying to find out. So that's the time when he said we have to explore. And then when I felt pregnant, I was like, oh no, I'm pregnant. Oh dear. And he said, no, it's going to be all right. So he's trying to work out with someone, trying to create a company, and then trying to work, to find contract, blah, blah, blah. And they were spending time on the computer, trying to setting up a business plan, blah, 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 setting up the company online. And I was pregnant. I was in the house because we were in a shared flat with the person with whom Gilbert was going in business into. And then I had Beauty. Beauty is just, she was not a problem at all. She woke up in the morning, she'd go watch CBBS or Tiny Top, and then she was just gonna...
she just kind of...
Yeah, and then you have actually to know that she's hungry. Yeah. She's not gonna cry. And so I knew, okay, Beauty needs to eat. I would just watch, and then, okay. And she would sleep. She had a nap time. She would actually, she was a beauty. She was not trouble. When I had Alison, and then she was such a big, she was just having a sister. She didn't want anyone to touch her, even to feed her, had to fight with Beauty. She was like, no, leave my sister. I'm like, oh gosh, she needs to be fed. And then, but during pregnancy, so it was the time where Gilbert was sitting at his business. He was just not, I felt like I didn't get any help. Obviously, I understand he was trying to set up a business, so I didn't get any help at all. So starting there, feeling like everything was on me. I wake up with the morning sickness. I have morning sickness, but it was different. I would feel nauseous, but I would not throw up. I would feel tired because obviously when I go to bed, I wouldn't sleep. I was just gonna sleep around 4 o'clock because I was so uncomfortable. 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that's when Beauty wake up. So you just had 3 hours of sleep. You look after Beauty. I would just put her in front of TV. You feed her, and that's fine. And sometimes we just say, okay, please, baby, can you just feed the girl? And because he was so focused on his computer, when I wake up maybe around 9 or 10, the child is still in a pajama, this child hasn't got changed, and it was like, it's on me again, You feel like, oh.
How did that affect your mental state?
I was getting down and down without me knowing, because I was like, if it's a pregnancy, I always take it as a pregnancy because I feel I'm tired. The pregnancy is getting heavier and heavier. And I was just doing everything. I was just keep moving. I always remember, when I feel like that, I always remember my mom till the last minute. She was still working, she was still cooking. And remember, in Africa, when you mop the floor, you go on your knee with your hand. Yes. I remember her when she had the last born, and she was actually mopping the floor. I always have that image when I feel low. I say, oh, my mom did that, so I can do it. So it was not an excuse. Being pregnant, it was not an excuse. So I was push.
Yeah.
And I had Alison. So obviously, because I was missing home, I felt like I didn't have any help from my husband. And because he was so focused on what he was doing, he didn't notice or anything. Even washing, because we didn't even have a washing machine. Everything was by hand. The cooking, I would do the cooking, I would do the washing up, they will eat and then leave everything. I'm like, so I have to do the washing. Oh, no, we'll do later. Later on, 11, they sit on the computer, nothing is done. Yeah. I'll do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was just piling up. And then when I gave birth, the midwives, they always come. Mm-hmm. They always come and check and then do like a kind of questionnaire or something like that. So she did the questionnaire and I was like, everything was like low. When she did the sum, and she found that like I was getting lower and lower. And she said, oh my goodness, okay, I'll come back next week. Mm-hmm. When she did the questionnaire, she realized that this woman is actually depressed. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even want to feed the baby anymore. I was like, I didn't want anything. I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, let me just, if I don't go back home now, mm-hmm. I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to feed the baby. I'm just going to go on strike. Mm-hmm. That was it. I didn't say anything. That was thinking. In my thought. Yeah. That was my thinking. Mm-hmm. And I remember even one day, even going into online, mm-hmm. and actually, how do you call those people that see things with the big round ball and all that? How does they see it? The seers. Yeah. And I even trying to find someone who can actually help predict my future. Yeah. Because I was getting so desperate, I needed help. I needed someone to help me. I needed someone to feel like, okay, I'm here to help. If you can't do it, I'll do that for you. But I didn't get that from my husband, so there's no need for me to put that. Because I understand he was doing some research. He was, and I didn't want to put pressure on him as well. I was like, okay, I have me, I can handle it. Mm-hmm. But in the same time, I am desperate for help.
Right.
And then when the midwife came for the second time, she realized that, oh my goodness. And then she made a call, and I remember saying, okay, can we get the psychiatric room ready? And when she said that,
psychiatric what?
Ward or something, or room one.
To admit you.
To admit you, yeah.
Yes.
When she said that, actually, I just closed my eyes. It was just a minute. I just closed my eyes. And I remember just seeing in a vision myself. You know when they put the crazy people like in a white suit and like this? That's how I saw myself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I just woke up. It's like when I opened my eyes, I just woke up. It's like I woke up. Mm-hmm. And I said, actually, I'm fine. She said, no. And I said, no, just come back next week. Mm-hmm. Just come back next mm-hmm. week. And she said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. Come back next week. And then I think I just woke up and I said, okay, no. I said, no, I don't see myself in that. I said, no, I feel I'm not going to be, because I was so low. I even wanted to take my life. It was just that deep. I couldn't go in the home. I wouldn't cry, but I just started feeling sorry for myself, like properly sorry. Mm-hmm. And my husband didn't even notice that. He didn't.
That's an interesting thing, because if you're with someone and you live in the same home, but they don't know how low you're going, because you're trying to put up a front. When you're with them, you want to be happy, you want to take care of the children, you want to make everybody think that it's normal. Yeah. Oh, you're not asking for help.
No. And I remember even before I gave birth to Alison, his brother came. I remember he came on a Friday and I delivered on Sunday. And I remember he came on Friday, and on Saturday, because obviously I was having it, but I was nearly at the end. Mm. And I woke up on Saturday, I think at 11 or 10 o'clock. No, he came actually in the bedroom, and he said, oh, you don't gonna do any breakfast for my brother. And I'm like, I woke up, I said, but I'm having pregnant, baby. I didn't sleep up to maybe 7 o'clock. I didn't sleep. Can't you do that for me? Mm. They say, how can you just sleep? And I say, how dare you just telling me I'm heavily pregnant, anytime soon I will give birth. Mm. You can't say that. You could have at least helped me with that. He was not happy. He was actually cross with me. Mm. So I just said, okay, it's fine. Sorry, I'm just going to wake up. So I woke up, I went and did breakfast. He said, no, it's fine. I said, no, I'll do that. So that actually, when he said that, it was just, oh no, I was just feeling like
it broke you.
It broke my heart.
How did you come out of that? Did you stay in that space for a long time, or when did you come out of that feeling? So the feeling of despair and just feeling very negative. How long did you stay in that space? And if you did come out, what helped you come out of it?
I think I stayed there. I think when brother came, and then I gave birth on Sunday, and then on Tuesday I came out. One of the person with whom I was staying in Sokoto came to visit me, and for 2 days she stayed with me. And she really helped her, and I could actually just watch. She was like, "Oh, Nina, go and sleep. I'll do everything." She was cooking, she was cleaning, she was looking after the baby and looking after Beauty. I actually felt good for once. I felt, oh my goodness, I don't have, because I felt so much guilty. I was like, no, I need to. And she said, no, you just gave birth, stay there. So I was like treated like and I just needed that. And then Alison is born on the 10th of February, so I came out of hospital on the 12th, and then on the 14th it was Valentine's Day. I was still Catholic, remember? I was still Catholic at the time, and and he decided his brother was invited in London, so they took the friend who came to help me and his brother, and I'm like, and the person with whom was sharing, and they were going. I said, "Baby, are you going?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going." I said, "It's Valentine's Day, you can't go." I said, "No, you need to go with my brother." I said, "He has the other person, he's fine. You have to stay." I said, "No, I need to go." I was like, oh my goodness. I just said, "Okay, you just go." I went to my room. I started crying and crying. I said, "God, if you came here, I came here to be treated like this. That's not fair." I was actually crying. And when they went, obviously, it was after we had food, and then we were just giving birth. I was not going to the toilet properly, and I was still struggling, and my wound, and it was just so painful. And you know, when everything wants to go back together, you are such in pain. And I look in the kitchen, it was in a state. I was like, oh my goodness. So the only thing when I finished crying, I said, "Okay, Nina, stop being a baby. Put yourself together and you're going to make it." So I just wiped my tears. The baby was asleep, Beauty was asleep. And I went in the kitchen. I just sat down in a stool and I started doing the dishes. I finished that. I went on the floor. I didn't have an Hoover, so I was just splashing on the floor. And I sat there on the TV. I was all alone. I said, "It's Valentine's Day. My husband's not here. Okay, I'm going to spend Valentine's Day with my babies." And I was it. I would wake up when the baby's crying, and they came back at 11. I said, "I'm not going to talk to him." I didn't speak to him. I didn't speak to him. And then the next day, I think 2 days after, his brother was going. So he said, "Are you coming to the airport?" And "No, I'm not coming to the airport. You can go. I'll stay here with the baby." And then I think that the week after, that's when the midwife came, and then we had the questionnaire again. And then that's when she was phoning, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't see that.
Were you improving at that point?
I was not. I was going down every day, because every day was a new episode it was just something new. I was like one day I woke up, I said, "Actually, Gilbert, can't you help me?" I said, "No, you're fine." For him, I think he just didn't see. I think he was just blind. And maybe he was just so focused on the company, because he was not working. I think as a man looking for work and he was tough.
It's there, and I think when you look at it culturally, because men are supposed to be providers, so that's what society makes. So he was focused on his role, and you're supposed to be the nurturer and the mom, and you're hyper focused on that role, but you've completely forgotten yourself in that whole mix. And I think a lot of women are in that space, especially new moms. How would you advise a new mom who's sort of feeling a bit?
I think, to be honest, negative. I think you should actually, not only for me, my communication was not great, because for me I was like, okay, he needs to help me, but it was not the help I was looking. It was not the physical help. It was like, can't you see what I'm going through? It was deeper than that. You wanted him
to talk to you about
I would just to ask me, "Are you okay? What do you need? Do you want me maybe to watch the baby?" Or, just little things. That's the little things that was piling up. And I thought that I was lacking that. Gilbert just lost completely attention to me. He was just focused on one thing. As a man, I need to provide for this company has to work. This has to work so I can provide for my children. That was what he has in mind,
Focus,
which I totally, even now, he still do that. And I really applaud him for that. But on that focus, he forgot about me. He forget even the promises. Okay, I'm going to look after the baby. He doesn't do. If the little thing, okay, I'm going to wash the dishes. He doesn't do. The little thing, and you wake up, you think, okay, I know it's done. You wake up, it's not done. Up to very late, and you think,
what do you think you could have done differently, looking back? Is there anything that you would have done differently? Do you think that maybe if you communicated would have been, or do you think that there's something that we missed somewhere?
I think.
You think like sometimes that women are afraid of asking for help? Or do you think, I'm just speaking in general, not you in specific, do you think women are not asking for help?
I think they do, but they have a weird way of asking for I had a weird way. For me, it was just lashing my frustration, but it was not the kind. He's frustrated already. He wants to provide for his family, and you're coming with fire.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. So maybe I could have approached that differently. Maybe say, okay, baby, look, I'm not doing so greatly with the pain of the having birth and not having you around, or not feeling that you are giving attention to me or to us, And I think maybe I could have done it differently, because Gilbert is is about communication. Say exactly what you need.
And that's meant for you. You've got to be black and white, because I think sometimes it's difficult to read through the lines. And I think it's important to call it for what it is. It's postpartum depression. It does come in sometimes to people randomly because of the changes in hormones, but particularly it may come because of the lack of support that you might find. Wow, that's huge.
I tell you, and I was just, for me, even when it was because you could spend all night in this company. So for me, when I couldn't sleep, I was like, okay, maybe if I take a pill just to sleep, I will sleep. Or maybe if I talk to the person who can predict my future, will tell me actually, so I will feel much better. Or maybe I'll find comfort knowing, okay, my husband will help. So it gives me hope for the future, or for the next year. And I was like, okay, maybe if I just kill myself, that will do something. And then it was just all the dark thought. If I do it,
thoughts.
Yeah, it was, because I was stuck at the end. I was like, what's the point? Because my husband doesn't pay attention to me. I may as well just end up my life, and then he can just look after it, because he's so focused. And so if I'm out of the picture, he can just focus on the children. They don't ask for much. So I think for me it was like, that's the best.
That's a desperate place to be.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You can't control that feeling. It just comes in intrusively. I'm keen to know how you were able to manage that.
So when I had that vision of me there, I was like, okay, no, Nina, you can't be in that position. That's not me. Because those kind of people, when they're in that state, that's it. They start giving them pills and whatever. When they react to the no, because they may be coming to the senses, they think they are actually reacting to the craziness in the state that they are displaying, if I can say. If this makes sense. So I was like, no, I actually, in my mind, I said, no, Nina, you are not going to be there. I refuse, actually. And then I was like, I have 2 babies. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I just woke up. It was like, I was just waking up from a dream. It was like, and I said, no, I'm going to be okay. Just come back next week. So I woke up and I was like, okay. So when I finished, when she went, I was like, okay, what's need to be done in the house? So I look around and say, for me, it was like, it's my children and me. I'm going to focus on my children and me. Gilbert is grown up enough. He can look after himself, because right now I don't want to disturb him in this process. He can look after himself. So I just stood up. I think the mind, when you make up your mind, the mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
When you make up your mind, I tell you, the devil comes. When he comes to the mind, because the mind listens to any kind of lies.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I said, I'm not a crazy person. I am not. So all the things, it just switch. And then I said, no, that's it. It just came out. I became a new person. And I don't know how, to be honest. because I didn't cry for help. I was just, no, Nina, you can't do that. I just refused.
Yeah.
And then I came out, I started, okay, I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to do that. I went and started cleaning. There was nothing to clean, but I started cleaning. I started in my bedroom. I was like putting everything in order. There was nothing to put, but I was just, okay, I want to prove that I'm okay. And I was just, because I focused, I said, me and the children, that's my priorities. And that's what was telling me to
and
go.
I think I've seen that if your environment is in order, then you tend to see that the mindset also starts to follow. So sometimes I always say to people, you get up, take a shower. A new mom, you feel like, I don't want to take a shower. I'm going to stay in my bathroom all night. I'm not going to brush my teeth. That's just making you worse. Get up, take a shower, brush your teeth, get out, do something, arrange your house.
I did that, thank God.
Because the worse you feel physically, you're going to feel worse mentally.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I'm really, really so happy that you came out of there, and just to hear you talk about how passionate you are about your life and the people around you, your family. I just wanted to sort of just find out where your passion comes from, because you're somebody, when I talk to you, I just feel so much excitement for life. And if you're telling me this whole backstory about how difficult you felt at that point, and you come out and you're like the exact opposite of that. You're such a ray of sunshine, so much joy, so much happiness, so much passion. Where did that come from?
I think maybe it may not be relevant, because I remember when I was, my mom told me that when I was 3 months old, I had meningitis or something. Yeah, that. And I remember it was my cousin who found like a lump there on next to my bum, and then when she tried to press it, it was like a green pus that came out. So when they went to hospital, they said, "Oh, actually, it's a
meningitis or something."
That word, meningitis. and then I remember my mom was like she was crying. She was like, "Oh my goodness, she's such a babe. She's just a baby." So they did an operation, and then the doctor was like when after that everything went well, and he was like, "You have only 2 solutions. Whether if she doesn't feed, if she doesn't eat properly, he said this 3 choices. If she doesn't feed properly, that's it. If she feed properly, she eats a lot, and it's gonna be fine, because right now she needs food, she needs nutrients as much as she can to be okay. And if she doesn't feed properly, then there's gonna be like how do you say, like side effects or something, and she's not gonna be normal, she's gonna be disabled." And then my mom, I remember she said she just went back to the Lord, and she was crying, and said, "God, please, I don't want my child to be like this. She's gonna be." And she said, when she did the prayer, she said, amazingly, I was eating. She said, "I've never seen Nina eating in her life," but that time she ate so much to the point she became so overweight. So when I went for a checkup, the doctor was like, "Wow,
the opposite of what they expected.
Your child is not crazy. She's okay." And I think because every time maybe when I joke in the house, they always say, "Oh, maybe it's the side effect of meningitis." They always say, "Okay, that's why you're crazy." It always make me smile, because I grew up in a happy home, and joyful home. We always laugh and all that. So maybe that's why, because even when we had visitors, they always say, "Oh, Nina is not there." And I'm like, "What have I got to do with it?"
You're going to be the entertainer.
Yeah. And I said, "Nina, come here." I said, "No, I'm not a comedian, even though I won the award last year." So
you did. Actually, you did. Yes, Nina won the award for the funniest person?
Comedian of the
year at the Fountain Church Awards. So keep your eye out for this one next year. Hopefully you can hold the title.
I'm coming for you.
People that are contending with you, myself included. I'm kidding. No, I'm not in that category.
You can win. Easy. Isaiah is the best. Isaiah is the best.
We're going to see. We're going to see this time around. So, just the one final question: what does the future look like for you? What you've told me what you're passionate about. I know you're a Christian. You go to Fountain Church. You love coming here to Fountain Church. You love being involved in ministry. What does the future look like for you?
Oh, the future by myself. Without God, I don't see my future. remember, God holds our future. So that's something that I'm always passionate about, because I remember not long ago, God reminded me that, you know, you exist because I exist. And I'm like, I didn't catch that. And then actually the more I was saying it, it actually makes sense, because obviously God is the self-existing God. He created us. So if He didn't create us, we wouldn't be in this place. So I know as long I am with God, I know that as long I'm lining up with His will, I'm doing what is right. I know that nothing will go wrong, even though the enemy tries. He will try. He will always try. But with God,
all things are possible.
We are victorious.
Yeah.
All things are possible. So just hold on to God. Trials will come. They will always come. Definitely they will come. But you just have to press on. You just have to trust in God. He's not a man to lie. God is not a man. He's God.
He is God.
He is God. So just trust in Him. He will come through for you. As long as He will take, but He's shaping you.
He's shaping your future.
He's shaping you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about being a member of Fountain Church?
Oh my goodness. The best thing. I think the best thing is, first is founding Fountain Church is the best thing that have happened in my life in the UK. And the best thing to be part of it is just it's a family atmosphere. You think I thought that a family love doesn't exist, a family church doesn't exist, but I found it in here. When you come here, you step in, even the atmosphere tells you. The atmosphere speaks for you. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to pretend, because when you enter, even the way they approach you, the way they talk to you, the way they embrace you,
yes,
you feel like, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. And you don't feel, oh, no, I don't belong. No, you feel belong even before you belong.
Yeah.
It's
so true. It is so true. Everybody here is a family, and I think that's what we need sometimes when it comes to support. And this is, I just appeal this even to young women. If you're struggling with loneliness, or if you're struggling with, you need some kind of a support, this is a church that you want to join, because we've got a ministry here that will support you, women's ministry, we've got the young adults ministry. Our pastoral team is always ready to speak with you. So if you come in, you're in the right space. Do not suffer in silence. Do not suffer in silence. So please talk to somebody. And we've got also the Restore Ministry, which will support people who are struggling with their mental health. So this is really a good space to be in, and I highly recommend.
Oh, definitely. If there was more stars, I would give 10 stars instead of 5.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so it was so lovely speaking with you, Sister Nina. I did enjoy our conversation.
Oh, thank you.
I learned a lot more about you, and your testimony, I believe, is life-changing. I'm hoping you've been blessed by this testimony. If you want to be on the show, please speak to one of our producers. We're going to have the contact details at the bottom of the screen. Please speak to one of our producers, because your testimonies are important. They're changing lives out here. This is our year of impact, and we want to do that by sharing your testimony. God bless you, and have a wonderful night.